Sup, let me introduce you to Prince Pietro, Narcia, and Gami Gami Devil. These three characters are from the game called PoPoLoCrois, developed or published by AgeTec, and it is rated E for everyone. Now, you probably noticed this version of PoPoLoCrois is for the PSP. What you probably didn't know is that this PoPoLoCrois is actually the 5th video game installment of the PoPoLoCrois franchise. That's right, there's actually 4 other PoPoLoCrois titles that came before this one. Not to worry, I'll explain. Now, PoPoLoCrois actually started out as a manga series, which grew popular and became created as an anime format. Now, through this anime format, it ended up having 2 anime series, which those became popular, and Sony came along and said, hey, I want to turn this into a video game. And therefore, we got PoPoLoCrois, the first one, which was created for the PS1, basically the PlayStation, or for some people, PSX. Depends on how you look at it. Now, that game became very successful that they made a sequel called PoPoLoCrois 2, or for some people, PoPoRogue, which was spelled kind of the same but different. Now, when the PlayStation 2 came along, PS2, that's when we ended up getting PoPoLoCrois 3, which ended up being known as Adventures of Beginnings. Then PoPoLoCrois 4 came out for the PS2 as well, which became Adventure of the Law of the Moon. And of course, the PSP formats, as you can see here, was PoPoLoCrois. Now, all those game titles I mentioned, as well as the anime and the mangas, with the exception of this PSP version, were all exclusive to Japan. Then, of course, obviously the anime ended up becoming distributed worldwide, and so I'm not going to be surprised, actually, if people have seen the anime before this video game. Now, when it came to the video game aspect, this PSP is the first one that became sold worldwide. So, for a lot of people, it would be more like a surprise that, oh wow, I thought this was the first. No. But what's funny about it, though, is for the PSP version, this one, it actually has a combination of PoPoLoCrois 1 and 2 from the original PlayStation, plus they added some new elements and new story arc into it to keep it still fresh. So people who have played the first PoPoLoCrois as well as the second might recognize or, become like, hey, I've seen this before, or hey, I remember this. Yeah, they did that, but they also, like I mentioned, added some new stuff in there to keep the game fresh and new. Now, PoPoLoCrois, it's actually, well, this is kind of a fun fact for you. PoPoLoCrois is actually 2 words, which is basically in 2 separate languages. Popolo is Italian for people. Croix is French for crossing. Now, here in America, if this title was actually translated in English, it would have been known as Crossing of People. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't translate it and stuck with PoPoLoCrois, because honestly, Crossing of People doesn't sound that interesting to me. So, yeah, that's a little fun fact. Now, as I mentioned, this PSP version is kind of a combination of PoPoLoCrois 1 and 2. But this PSP version, the way the story arc worked is years and years ago, kind of like one of those long time ago type ordeal, there was an evil being that was trying to take over the world, and he wanted to take over PoPoLoCrois, which, believe it or not, is actually a kingdom, a castle. It's a place, PoPoLoCrois, to infinite his power as the ultimate evil being. Now, this being was known as Ice King. Don't get it twisted, he's not the character from Adventure Time, even though there are some similarities between the two. Now, what ended up happening is a dragon came out of nowhere and defeated the Ice King and trapped it power into the underworld. Well, basically sealed the Ice King down to the underworld that it defeated. Well, as the Ice King was going down into underworld, it grabbed the dragon and took it with him. Now, you're probably wondering what's the deal about this dragon. This dragon is actually Prince Pietro's mother. And as Prince Pietro gotten a little older, because he was somewhat of a baby at the time when this happened, as he gotten older, he was finally explained about what happened to his mother. And this caused him to go out and try to save his mom, look for his mom and save her. Now, throughout this adventure, he ended up meeting other characters, as you can see, such as Narcia. Gami Gami Devil came on later, but the story arc was pretty much basic, whereas Prince Pietro sets out to go find his mom and rescue her so that way he can finally be with his mother. Now, what's cool about this PSP version of PoPoLoCrois is that it doesn't just leave it with that story arc. There's more to it, and what's awesome about it is that the way they did each story arc is like a chapter, as if you're watching an anime or you're reading a manga itself, except you're playing in it. And I thought that was really cool. Now, just to give people a heads up, PoPoLoCrois is actually an SRPG, strategy role-playing game. And if you're not a fan of SRPG, I can understand, but let me just say, I highly recommend you guys pick this one up, because this SRPG is turn-based and it does have random battle, but it is so fluent and smooth that even if you're not a big-time SRPG fan, you can honestly pick this up and go with the flow. It's that pretty much easy. The game is not easy. It does have some challenges, but the gameplay is like so easy to learn that you pretty much, once you beat this game, you pretty much want to go out and get more SRPGs, because this game will be a good way to start you off in the basic line of playing SRPG. Now, as I mentioned, it has other story arc besides Prince Pietro looking for his mother. And that's what's cool about this game, because it doesn't just stick with that. As the game progresses, you literally see Prince Pietro gets older, and this game spans 5 years within this game time. Not as if in order to play this game you gotta waste 5 years on it. No, this game actually progressed through time within 5 years, where you'll see more characters, more story arc. And let me just say, the characters that you will meet, they are all fantastic. Now, the art style, as you can see, is pretty much, as you can see, it's hand drawn, but when you play the game, it's all 16-bit format. So if you're a fan of like the old style Sega Genesis 16-bit game, you will definitely love this. Now, excuse me. Now, with that being said, I mean, even if you are a fan of Nintendo, like their old style bit game, you'll also like this as well. But for me, I grew up with Sega Genesis more, so obviously the way it looked was definitely awesome. The landscape is very, very nice. The soundtrack music is very secluded. I mean, once you play this game, you don't want to put it down. You just want to keep playing it, keep trying to find out. Like I said, the story arc is what makes this game really awesome, but that's not only just an element to it. There's more to it. Now, the dialogue in this game is very readable, very smooth. They do have voice acting, but that was for the cutscene and sometimes for the attack. Like, for example, if you had Gami Gami Devil, one of his attack, he will literally say his name, but in more of an energetic, funny way. But it's actually kind of cool. So other than that, throughout the whole game is text dialogue, but there are cutscenes in there where you do hear voice acting, and the people that did the voice acting really fit the characters well. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. It was very smooth. It fit Yeah. Now there are other side quests in this game. Now when I was playing this, I didn't really realize about these side quests until finally I was like, all right, I'm picking up random jewels here, and I don't know what they were for. So I looked it up online to find out what it was, and to my surprise, I was almost done picking up these summoning jewels, so to speak. And I didn't know about them, but just to give you guys a heads up, they are at random spots. If you're not a big RPG fan or you're not that well experienced with RPGs, I suggest looking around. If you are experienced, then it's probably going to be a breeze finding these things. Because like I said, I wasn't intentionally looking for them, but I keep finding them, and I was like, alright, what the crap are these stuff? But other than that, it's just really good. So yeah, PoPoLoCrois. I mean, the soundtrack is very, very entertaining, to the point where it's like, everything about this game is awesome, that I actually went out of my way to look for the anime version, and the anime is just as good. I mean, it doesn't have the 16-bit element, but it's very nice, smooth, and hand-drawn, and I highly recommend you guys check out the anime as well. Now, the characters, like I mentioned, they are all awesome. You will bond with some of the characters. I mean, close to the actual ending of this game, you actually choose which characters you want in your party. But there are also side characters that are not playable that you will obviously remember forever. I mean, once you beat this game, from my experience, every time I look at the cover, I automatically start thinking about those other characters, how much fun they were, how intellectual they are. I mean, this game just has it all. I highly recommend for anybody, whether you're an SRPG fan. Oh, as I mentioned, it does have random battles, and for those of you that don't know what SRPG game are, it's basically, think of a game of chess. You move your characters like as if they're chess pieces on these grids to, strategize your attack, like where you want them to attack, where you want them to meet the enemy, where you want them to dodge, so on and so forth. But like I said, if you're not that familiar with it, I highly recommend you pick this up, because it's a good way to start off basically about SRPGs. So yeah, PoPoLoCrois. Like I said, I highly recommend it. And if you're going to try to go out and find the other 4 PoPoLoCrois games that came before this, good luck, because I can already tell you it's going to be hard because they're rare, and especially since they're Japanese exclusive, which also means they are going to be heavily priced. But other than that, go out and grab this PSP version if you have a PSP. So yeah, PoPoLoCrois. Awesome. Alright then. Later.